a month right now. I think I need to bump it to $200 a month, which is not cheap, but compared to what we're building. Oh, there we go. We're now live on YouTube as well. Sorry, YouTube, I was just chatting to TikTok because I was having some problem with my live streaming for some reason, but we seem to be there. It is day 16 of building an AI app in public. I'm going from an idea that I had a couple of weeks ago through the building process using Lovable and then launching all within 30 days. That is the plan. This is the first time I'm doing this though, so we'll see. We're working it out as we go along, a bit like Wallace and Gromit, you know, where he's laying down the tracks as he zooms along. That is very much the modus operandi that we're following at the moment, which is fine. At least we're getting something done. And I'm spending 1 hour per day on this project, moving it forward, basically to show that this is something that you at home can also do yourself. This does not require locking in and spending 6 hours doing 6 to 8, 15 hours a day, like my friend Marcin. He vibe coded 15 hours over the weekend, which is not the way. I'm going to burn out, man. You need to look after yourself. But instead, 1 hour per day, just chipping away, building, and improving every single day, or trying to improve every single day. Sometimes the vibing gods are not with us, and it does not work. So what I'm building, just a quick recap, because it is Monday and it's a new week, is the ability to create lead magnets from content. So let's say I have a YouTube video like this. This is on my YouTube channel. I'm able to grab a link from here. I plug it into my tool, and from there it will generate lead magnet ideas. A lead magnet is a piece of value that you give away to a viewer in return for their email address. So this would generate a bunch of things like a checklist, a PDF guide, a quiz, etc., which I can then put on a landing page, which my audience members can go to, give me their email address, and then get access to the lead magnet. Now, for those of you who haven't seen this for a while, we've added a few things. So text, the ability to put text in, so I can convert a blog article into lead magnets and then create landing pages off the back. I can also, and when moving towards this, I can also use this to create lead magnets of other people's videos. So right now there's a limitation, which I think I can work through. There's a limitation where I can only create lead magnets from my videos. So whoever is logged in, they'll only be able to create lead magnets of their own videos, which is fine. But we kind of want to open this up so that somebody could use my tool to create lead magnets for other people, and then they could sell those lead magnets. They can say, hey, I'm a lead magnet generation service, and I can help you. I can make you 10 lead magnets every single month for 1,500 or whatever it is. So they can go and pitch to creators. So I've added in the ability to do text. I will work out how to create lead magnets from any YouTube video. I know it's doable, because this company here, Tactique, have a tool that does it. I just need to work out how. Well, I know how, but I haven't been able to implement it yet. And then in the back end, we can see I've added in the ability to use different sources. So we have YouTube, text, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. Gonna have ways to pull in information from each of these and turn them into lead magnets, and then create landing pages from the lead magnets. Okay, so that's where we are. So this is a landing page, for example. Have a look at that. Looks like that. Everything's very lovable looking at the moment, which we need to do something with. There's also a dashboard. This does not look good right now because it's in, there we go. That's full size desktop, and then squeezed up will be mobile. So what you're seeing is kind of in the middle. Maybe I should fix that because it's been annoying me for a week now. So that's where we are. We are also running out of Lovable credits. So I've only got 20 left. So I'm probably going to have to upgrade today. People have asked me, like, how much is this costing? So far I've been building for 2 weeks. I also build my own tools in the background, and I've used 400 credits, which is $100. I'm probably going to upgrade now or after this stream to the $200 a month plan. It's a lot of money, yes, but compared to what I'm building, it's very low. As a business expense, it's tiny compared to hiring a coder or spending all the time building this myself. So I'm happy with that. There are cheaper ways to do it. You can do it via the API, so you can get direct linkage to Claude's API, and you can hook that into Cursor, for example, or Claude Code. I'm not doing that because I want to show Lovable. I want to show how anyone can do this, and Cursor and Claude Code, etc., are a little bit more complicated. I actually wrote a whole guide about this. Why is it not loading? That's a concern. I wrote a whole guide about this, how to start with vibe coding at the weekend. Here we go. I'll put it up on the screen because somebody asked me in the if there's a written guide. So I wrote one, and it's 3,500 words long. So basically how to get started in it. This is the first Twitter, by the way, which I thought was really interesting. This is me showing that for your first draft, it doesn't need to be like clean. Like the first Instagram was actually a bourbon check-in app where you go and drink whiskey and check in. The first Facebook looked like this. That's the highest resolution image I could get. First Twitter looked like this, etc. So then I talk about the progression path, where I'm basically saying this stuff is great, like Claude Code, wonderful, really cool tool. But if the first step you encounter is, go to your terminal and type npm install -g at Anthropic AI Claude Code. If you don't know what a terminal is, if you don't know how to use a command line interface, if you don't know what this is, then that's far too intimidating. So start with something like Lovable, and then you go to Cursor, and then you can mess around with something like Claude. So that is all available in the newsletter. You can get that at newsletter.aiwithkyle.com up here. So definitely go and check that out. And I have a guide like that every single week. Right, I've been blabbing. Let's actually get started. What am I doing? So where were we? We were... Okay, so we added the text generator, and the text generator works. I added like holding spaces for TikTok, Instagram, and LinkedIn, etc. To get these in play, we're going to need to scrape, which is doable, but I'm going to need to set up my scraping accounts using Apify. I know this because I've talked to Claude about how we can do this. We might be able to do LinkedIn. Is that worthwhile? No, first let's deal with the lack of responsiveness, because it's annoying. Okay, so we're going to use chat. Hey Lovable, thank you for that. So the next thing I want to do is deal with the responsiveness of the pages, in particular the dashboard and the lead magnet. Oh, sorry, the landing page. The landing page dashboard is very bad responsive. Also, we need to do some work for the top menu as well. Sorry, not the top menu, the navigation bar. We need to work on the responsiveness. Give it a shot, and if it doesn't look good, I'll give you some specifics, but go ahead and have a shot first. I'm being lazy. What I should be doing is taking screenshots and saying, hey, this bit is overlapping, this bit's not responsive, etc., etc. But I'm going to see if it can just do a basic pass, because it might just be missing some rules for how it flexes. So what you can see is, can you see these buttons are overlapping? This kind of falls out. So it's not very responsive. When we go to here, a full desktop, it looks fine. But then when we squeeze it up into mobile, or in between mobile and desktop, what's that called? Like mid-size? Then it looks a mess. And responsiveness in web design is, I was about to say a new thing. It's not new. It's ever since we've had telephones, really, or iPhones. It used to be that when you designed a web page or when you designed a piece of software, everyone's screen was at least the same shape. Everyone had rectangular screens, pretty much. That's just what monitors look like. However, now that we have multiple devices, we have iPads, we have phones with different shape and size screens, we need our web pages and our web apps to be able to shift their form factor depending on what device is being used, which is a nightmare because there are so many types of devices. If you actually go into Chrome, you can test responsiveness. So at the bottom left here, let me just put it into TikTok. Bottom left here, there's the ability to toggle it into a different device, and then at the top you can choose different devices. So we can say, oh, what's this going to look like on a Surface Duo? Okay, what's this going to look like on a Nest Hub? I don't even know what that is. Okay, a Nest Hub has this kind of shape apparently, so you can play around with it based on different devices. iPad Air, it will look like that. This is just a like a simulation. It's not going to be 100% right, and you can also like flip it. This is if I'm flipping my Pixel 7 left and right, but we just basically need to make sure that it is responsive so that it matches those devices regardless of what device. So I've just said to Lovable, right, we need to work on the responsiveness, we need to make it better because it looks a bit crap. Greeting, Kyle. What are we building, assessing right now? We are building a piece of software that allows us to generate lead magnets from YouTube videos. It's actually a bit wider than that though. It allows us to generate lead magnets from other pieces of content. So YouTube videos, text. I'd love to have it working with TikTok and Instagram as well, and LinkedIn. So we can feed in a piece of content and create a lead magnet and a landing page from that piece of content in order to capture emails. An error occurred trying to fix automatically, and we're doing it in Lovable to show the power of vibe coding, but also the limitations of vibe coding and how we work around them, because it's not always going to be perfect. In fact, I've had several days where nothing got done. So let's have a look. And the goal is to launch within 30 days. We're now on day 16, so it is moving faster than I hoped. In part, it's my fault because I started to add more functions, despite telling myself I wasn't going to add more functions, but obviously, okay, well, that's no good. This navigation element is now overlapping. That I like. It creates at the bottom, it creates a navigation bar. That's cool. But they're overlapping here. Okay. So it overlaps in that kind of mid-range. So if you had it full screen on desktop, it'd be fine. But then as you come in here, it overlaps. So we need some better rules on that. It's kind of a detail, like it doesn't break the functionality, but it looks a little bit unprofessional when people come to the page. So we just need to kind of get it ready so we don't have silly mistakes like that. Ed O'Brien says, I'll take some of the scope creep blame past generating lead magnets from just YouTube. Yes, Ed, you are 100% to blame for this one. So Ed gave me the idea of doing it from text. So previously, as I mentioned before, a limitation was I could only use the YouTube API to pull the transcripts from my own videos. So my customers will only be able to get transcripts from their videos, which is fine, but it is a limitation. So Ed, helpfully, and it is, and genuinely, it was really helpful. In chat, he was like, oh, why don't you allow generation from text? And then people can go and grab the transcripts using a third-party tool like this. So I can grab this transcript, I can dump it in the tool, and that will generate lead magnets from the text. It's like, oh yeah, that's a really good workaround. It's also a useful thing to have anyway, because then I can create from blog articles, for example. So yeah, Ed came up with that idea, and that's why I've added it. And then at the same time, I was like, I'll just add these other ones into. That was my fault. But I do want to be able to do it with Instagram in particular. Instagram, you can do something called a DM giveaway using ManyChats, and it is incredibly powerful. So ManyChats allows you to, let me see if I can pull up a picture, because it'd probably be useful. ManyChats allows you to set like keywords. Let's see, might be a picture of it. So you can set up a DM automation basically. So you can have a video. Let's say I'm discussing, how to use ChatGPT. So I'll have a video about how to use ChatGPT. Let's say 10,000 people watch that video. Cool. I can have at the bottom, it can say, comment ChatGPT and I'll DM you my guide, basically. So this allows us to automate direct messaging people if they comment something. You've probably seen it on Instagram in particular, with people saying comment PDF or comment DM or comment I love it, and then they'll send you something. So LinkedIn is really good for that. So I'd love to be able to build lead magnets off LinkedIn videos. So not LinkedIn, Instagram, off Instagram, to help facilitate DM giveaways in ManyChats. Although knowing me, I'll build the DM bot in the background. No, that's a joke. I don't want that. Okay, so we need to check the landing page dashboard. Well, that's no good, is it? That looks identical. So what we're going to have to do is take some pictures. It's not terrible. It's these overlaps. So what I'm going to do is take a photo, a screenshot basically, and chuck it into Lovable. That's not it. It's my fault for having a messy desktop. Where is it? Okay. Ah. Nope. Okay, I don't know where that screenshot went. I must have changed the... There we go. Here's a screenshot of the landing page dashboard. The so this bit at the top's messy. Desktop is squeezed before mobile is triggered. We need to make sure text remains in mountain boxes. So we'll do that one first. So previously I gave it a lazy instruction. I was just like, make it more responsive, which I knew was lazy, but sometimes it works. Now I've actually given it a screenshot of what I can see and saying, this is the problem. So this is one way to fix things using vibe coding. It's probably going to be a temporary issue because increasingly our vibe coding tools can see what we see. So you've probably seen me coming into here, taking screenshots, also pulling up the Chrome console and grabbing error codes and stuff like that. The kind of more advanced tools are much better at doing that. So Claude Code and Codex, they set up their own development environment and they're better at seeing what we see. Sometimes we still need to help them. But I think in a year or so, probably even less, 6 months, I won't need to do so much back and forth. Because remember that vibe coding as a term was only coined in February, I think it was February. So it's not even a year old. I'll fix the text overflow issue in the landing page dashboard, intermediate screen sizes. That's the term I'm looking for. And then it's saying it's done it. Let's have a look. Yes, Metally, it's Lovable we're using. There are lots of other tools for it. There's Bolt, there's Base 44, there's Replete, there's V0. Those are all like the pure vibe coding tools. And then above that there are things like Cursor, which is a more it requires more experience with code. And then above that you'd have something like Claude Code and Codex. So there are different levels depending on technical ability. I'm using Lovable. I always have people come into my chat and tell me, you shouldn't use Lovable, you should use blah, blah, blah. I'm using it specifically because it is something that anyone can pick up and anyone can build with, and I want to show people it's accessible. So I don't want to open up Claude Code and freak everyone out. Even though it's very good, it's also intimidating. Okay, let's have a look. Well, that's rubbish, isn't it? Yeah, it has done nothing. Oh, it has done something. It's changed that a little bit. No, that is terrible. So what to say? I've improved the text sounding in the landing page. You really haven't, though. So why has that failed so much? I'm going to give it one more go. That has changed. Nothing / nothing noticeable. This is the landing page dashboard. It might be looking in the wrong page, so I'm going to, for example, I'm going to give it an example of what the page is, because it might be in the other dashboard, because I do have multiple dashboards. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. It might just be being rubbish. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. There were some days when the models are just a bit stupid. Maybe it's anecdotal, but it feels like some days the model performance will be degraded. We tend to see this with ChatGPT models before the rollout of a new model. However, we're using Claude at the moment. I'm sure there are similar issues though. So when we'll probably get Sonnet 4.5 soon-ish. So there might be diverting server from Sonnet 4.2 over to 4.5, which causes degradation. I'm not seeing a huge performance issues at the moment, but there are some days where that just kind of happens and there's not much you can do about it. And I see people on Reddit like freaking out, like, it's stupid, I haven't got anything done. I've spent 10 hours banging my head on this, I wasted all these credits. And on those days, just go and do something else. Like, I know it's annoying, or switch to another model. But I think also remember that these are still quite magical tools. We become used to things so quickly, you know. Just wait for the update. And then we become entitled. So when it doesn't work, we throw a hissy fit. Oh, that's even worse. What's it doing? Okay, that's good. Well, it's still not quite right. So that is mobile. So that's fine. That is intermediate, but then you go a bit further and it does that, which is rubbish. And then you go a bit further and it does that, which is fine. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to fully show it what I'm seeing. So this is desktop. Nope. So I seem to have 2 intermediary steps, which is not ideal. And then that is mobile, which is fine. There we go. Stupid. I don't know where my screenshots are going, so I'm having to grab them from the dialog quickly. Oh, can I only add 3 images? Okay, in that case I'll do this. There seem to be 2 intermediary sizes between full desktop and full mobile. Both full desktop and full mobile display correctly. But these 2 intermediaries do not, still with overlap. Do we need 2? Could this be causing the problem? It might have added 2 stages and they are banging into each other. Because ideally we just need a desktop, one in the middle, and mobile. Again, this is not a massive problem. This is mainly an issue if you are sliding your browser open and closed. I don't think it's... I'm going to try this one more time, but I'm going to move on because it's not make or break, and it's very easy to get fixated on these tiny little things, and then that's not actually moving the functionality forward. So this is the last one, then I'll push ahead. Tony saying yes, sometimes it's really bad for some reason. Yeah, it's I think on those days just go and do something else. It happens. And sometimes, well, this is me personally, but sometimes I will bang my head against a problem again and again and again. Like this, I could allow this to become my whole day. I could bang my head against this, but I need to step back, take a breath, and realize, no, this isn't actually that important, and I can move on and I can do something else. And often once you step away and you go and do anything else, you go outside, when you come back you find that you're able to fix the problem really, really quickly. If you are using Cursor as well, one of the great things about Cursor is you can change the model. You can explicitly say, okay, now we're going to use Gemini, now we're going to use Claude. And sometimes you might find that Claude is just making the same mistake again and again, and you switch it into GPT-5 or you switch it into Gemini, and it will just blast through that problem. It's like, oh, okay, we just needed a different model for this particular problem. So that's one of the really powerful things about Cursor. Whereas when you are using Lovable, you don't actually know what the model is behind. You can ask, you can say, hey, what model are you? Maybe we can do that for fun. But you don't have that explicit control that you do with Cursor, where you get to choose what model you use for what. So I'm Claude. Here we go. So Lovable is saying, hey, I'm Claude. They briefly allowed you to use GPT-5, and they had a little toggle to turn it on just after the release. They got rid of that because GPT-5 is not very good. It's not as good for coding. So thankfully they use Claude. Yeah. If this doesn't work, we're moving on. We're adding it to a list of things we need to fix. Let me try this one. It's rubbish. Okay. Okay, so it's made... Oh, what's going on there? Oh, no. No, okay. Alright. I mean, people aren't going to lose their mind over that, but that's not ideal. We'll come back to that later. Right, let's move on with actually sorting stuff out. What do we need to do? What do we need to do? It's difficult once you've had a weekend off because you forget what it is we're doing. Let me check my master plan. And what else? What were we doing before? Okay. Tony, then I run out of credits and take a walk. Yeah. It's speaking of which, I'm about to run out of credits. I need to I might hit up Lovable and see if they can help me with the credits. So on the cost, I've talked about this briefly, but this has cost me so far $100 worth of credits. Not just this project though, because I do other projects, so it's really hard to tell exactly how much I've spent on this. I could have kept a record, but that's a bit boring. I would estimate it's cost me $60–70 maybe, but I've been working on this. This is now hour 16, so that's fine. And if you're building stuff for business, that is obviously a very small expense compared to the cost savings or the revenue you can generate off the back of it, but it is not free. I just need to point that out. That's going to be the same with any tool. You can hop around using free trials, piecing bits together. At the end of the day though, if you want to actually build something and deploy something, you're probably going to have to spend at least $20 a month. I think that's let's see, 100 credits a month is $25. You can probably get cheaper elsewhere. You can use your API, but there's going to be a cost. This is not free. Or you can deploy a local model, but then you need to spend money on a good computer. So yeah, it's never going to be free. What are we actually doing? Sorry, I'm blanking out totally. So we've got this, we've got that. We've got an annoying responsive issue, but I'm not going to let that annoy me. LinkedIn. Okay, it creates the lead magnets. So we're kind of getting there. Okay. So, oh, I can talk to it. So, okay, I want to get ready for a beta launch. So specifically, I need to allow people to create accounts, and we need to make sure those accounts can generate lead magnets and that there is no leakage between the different users. So we need to make sure authorization and account creation and everything is non-leaky, because up until now I've been using the admin accounts, but we need to start testing out user accounts. So right now we are forcing registration with Google. That is because we need the Google OAuth API for them to be able to generate YouTube videos. However, we've now added the text generator so we can relax our registration a little bit. What we'll need though, this is complex. So we need them to be able to create an account to mess around with it for the beta test, which will probably be text-based, because that's going to allow me to get the most beta users actually up and running with it. But I will also want them to be able to attach their YouTube account to be able to generate lead magnets from their YouTube videos, but we need to be very clear in the messaging. So let's discuss how we flip the registration flow so that they can register with any email, but then also connect their Google, and what complications that creates, or should we just force them to use a Google in the first place? Let's discuss first because it's a little fiddly. Thank you. So the problem I'm having here is initially it was created for YouTube and YouTube only, and it requires somebody to register with a Gmail or Google based account in order to allow for the API access. So it would be done via their account. However, that is going to make it harder for me to beta test because one, people need a Gmail account and they need to allow me to use their Gmail account to connect. I don't see any of those details, but they go through the server. And two, it limits it to only being able to generate YouTube videos from your account based on the OAuth. So we kind of need to relax that, bring the text-based generator to the forefront, but then still have the functionality to connect to YouTube, if that makes sense. Because I don't want to undo all of that. Your current setup forces Google OAuth for all users, yes. Okay, so hybrid authentication. Allow email password registration plus optional Google linking. Lower barrier to entry. Users can test text-based features immediately. Yes. Can still access YouTube features when needed. More complex authentication flow. This is what I'm worried about. Need to handle users with/without Google tokens. Yes. Additional UI complexity. Yeah. Keep Google only is simpler. I don't think that's an option though, because it will demolish my beta. Technical. Yeah, we're going for the hybrid. Because we're going to need them. Do we need them to connect their TikTok and their Instagram anyway? No, because we're not using the API. Okay, that's irrelevant. So let's go for it. I'm going to book. Let's just push. So yes, let's go for hybrid. So this is our big task today, which I'm starting at 34 minutes. So I'm going to say step by step. Let me test at each step before proceeding. So the tool will try to do everything in one shot. We don't want it to do that. because if it doesn't work, or when it doesn't work, it's going to be really hard to work out why that is. So instead, we're saying go step by step. I'm going to test it, make sure it's working. If it's working, we move to the next step. If not, we stop and we fix it. Okay, let's see how it does. This is quite a big shift. Anything to do with authorization and OAuth and stuff like that is fiddly. So basically this allowed people to create an account using their Google account, but to do that we need to send information back and forward to Google using something called OAuth, which is doable. It's something you need to get right, otherwise the kind of tokens, the passwords and the authentication will fail, and then they won't be able to log in. Google will think that what's going on, it's a bit shifty looking, etc. So we just need to get it right, and it's fiddly stuff. And what we're trying to allow is for 2 ways to create an account. So you can either, okay, it's already started. So you can either sign in with an email or with Google. So text-based lead magnets, create lead magnets from your own text content. Perfect for getting started, and that's going to be an email and a password. And then YouTube. So okay, so that's fine. It's a bit there's a lot of information on the page, but let's get the functionality in place first, and then we can worry about the messaging, etc. So step 1 complete. I've implemented hybrid authorization. So let's see if we can actually test it. I don't know if it's done the back-end stuff yet. Users can start with email registration, test the step before we proceed. So we are going to go in. So this is already logged in, so I'm going to log out. So there we go. So Kyle, test 1 at myemail.com. Password. So sign in failed, invalid. Oh, this is login. Okay. Create account. Welcome to the platform. You can now create text-based lead magnets. So it didn't redirect me. So let's have a look. How do we know? Okay. So that's one issue. Okay, so a couple of things. I want to get rid of this stuff underneath while we're in email, and then we need to redirect. Okay, that looks okay. I cannot fully test it yet though, because it does not redirect me into the dashboard upon creating a new user, so I cannot tell whether or not that actually worked. The second thing is, we don't need the important your videos only, you can only process videos from your own YouTube channel, and the why Google sign-in is required. We don't need that under the email tab. That only needs to appear under the Google tab. So let's clean that up so it doesn't appear until you click on Google. Also, can you replace that Google YouTube icon with just a Google icon, because that's a little bit confusing. Okay, and that's it for now. Thank you. So this is why we're doing it step by step, because I still don't know if it's actually created a user account in the back end. It did pop up a little sign that said, yes, I've done it for you, but we don't know if that's true. Great, that's got my do in there, which is unhelpful. I'll fix the redirect and clean up the Auth UI to only show the Google specific messaging under the Google tab. Awesome. Ooh, excuse me. I was out late last night playing not video games, board games. So cool. Oh, you seem fun, Joel. Lovable bullshit. No USP. Sad project is all you're capable of. Oh, you're fun. Happy to test it for you when you get to that point. Thank you, Tony. So I'll be putting out the call in the newsletter for the beta testers. I'm going to go ahead and block you, Joel, because you seem like a sad little man. Bye. At least he's not racist. Some people are... I've had people come in and just start immediately being racist. Like, what? What are you doing? That's the quickest way to get banned with me. We don't need that. We don't need more hatred in the world. It's fine. Okay, here we go. So text-based lead magnets. So the email text-based lead magnets create lead magnets from your own content, and then it's got rid of the blurb about YouTube. However, if I click on Google, then it gives me these extra. That looks a bit scary, if you know what I mean. When you see that, it's like, ugh, why is there so much crap here? That makes it look a bit scary. So I'm probably going to put them under here and tone that down a bit so it looks less like warnings. Because this one in particular, that shouldn't be a warning. That's, hey, you get extra features. This is more of a warning, like, hey, it will only be able to do your videos, but that's fine. So here we go. Don't have account, sign up. So Kyle test2@email.com, blah 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 blah. Create account. Kyle test2@email.com is invalid. Is it actually doing some validation? Oh, yeah, it was. Okay. So it's doing some basic email validation. Still hasn't redirected me. Oh, do I need to sign in? Email not confirmed. I didn't. Alright. Has it actually... How's it sending emails? Is it sending emails? Okay. Need auto sign in after creation. Why am I typing? Okay, that looks good on the UI front. In terms of the sign-in, there should be an auto sign-in upon creation, because right now it's confusing. It just sits on that page and you need to then click on sign in and then re-enter the details. So that doesn't really work. I was also, so just go ahead and sign us in. Go ahead and redirect us into the dashboard for now. There was also a message saying the email has not been confirmed. Are you sending email confirmation emails? Because how are you doing that if you are? Is that coming from Superbase, or is that something that is not actually happening and you're just making up? For now, we do not need it. We're just getting the basic testing in place. And I'll also need to set up a proper email system, SMTP. But for now, can you, one, confirm if you are actually sending an email? And if so, how are you doing that? And then if that is the case, let's disable that for now and we'll loop back to it later and just redirect them from sign in to the dashboard. Thank you. So people, the guy who was angry about Lovable, I've just looked at his profile. I think he's a coder. He's been kicked out. A lot of people who do code don't like vibe coding, for good reason. It is a bit of a threat to what they do. Now, Lovable and tools like this are not necessarily going to get you to production level. They're not necessarily going to be able to create a tool that allows you to scale and have tens of thousands of users. What they're really good at is helping you build something, because most entrepreneurs have ideas that maybe you've been sitting on for years and you have no idea how to get it built. Well, you do. You need to go and find a CTO, a chief technical officer. You need to partner, or you need to raise money and then go and hire a team. I met someone in Sweden who had won. She came third place in the Lovable shipped competition. She had never touched code before in her life, and she had built this learning platform to help kids learning English using Lovable from scratch. because she'd heard about the competition, tried out Lovable, played around with it. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do this. That's why this stuff's really exciting. Not necessarily for the coders, for the people who have spent years studying computer science, but for the people who are business owners or who are entrepreneurs who can now put together either a proof of concept, a minimum viability product, or something you can actually take to market and you can prove. And that then allows you, if you want to start scaling up, then you can go and find technical co-founders. Then you can go and raise money, because you can say, hey, look, I've built something. I've got 100 people who are paying me for this. We're up and running. Do you want to invest? And then you'll probably rebuild it. That's fine, because the risk is not having a market for something, and you can use vibe coding tools to very quickly put together something, get it out into the market and see if people actually care. Yes, Superbase is sending out confirmation emails by default, so it went ahead and did that in the background. Not something we configured. When users sign up, Superbase requires email confirmation. That is fine. It's just a bit annoying for testing. Alright, so I'm going to turn it off for now, just because emails setup, yeah, because later I'm going to have to set up a SMTP server. Basically, if you want to send emails, you need to, you can sign up for a service like Mailgun, and it will send emails for you. You can do it from your own server, but then you can run into trouble with like spam, and your confirmation emails getting sent to spam, etc., etc. Can I actually turn it off? I just want to turn it off for now. Authentication settings, find confirm email settings and turn it off. Confirm, sign up. I've never done this in Superbase, so hang around with me. Yeah, so the service's rate limits are not meant to be used for production apps. I'm not sure if I can turn it off. I'm not seeing what it thinks I should be able to see, unless I'm being thick. So that's what the confirmation email will look like. So if I'm using this, I'll need to style it out, but I'll set up an SMTP server, but that comes later. Once you disable, can we do it another way without me needing to do this? Okay, so Superbase, turn off confirmation emails. Let's see if it's possible. Under the email and password provider, authentication providers email section. Okay. Which is in this one, isn't it? There we go. And now allow new users to sign up, confirm email. Let's turn it off for now, just for now. We will need to come back and turn that back on. The reason we have confirmation emails is to stop bots basically signing up, or to stop people abusing it. Although bots are pretty smart now and they can confirm an email, funnily enough, so I'm not sure how useful it is, but it's just a defense, a line of defense. We set up as many lines of defense as possible to make it as annoying as possible to be abused, but it's never possible to fully remove. Okay, no, first we need to test it, so I'm going to come back to the test. Oh, I've been joined by one of my fake accounts. That is confusing. I'm screenshotting that. Hey, I'm gonna block you. That's bizarre. So I've got about 20 people who pretend to be me. Well, not 20 people, bots. We're just talking about bots on TikTok. One of them just joined the live. Weird. Where do you start with vibe coding? What is the official URL? So there's a number of different tools. What I would say is I actually just wrote a guide about this. So that's good timing. Thank you. Thank you, Metally. If you go to newsletter.aiwithkyle.com, let me see if I can bring it up larger on your screen. Oopsie daisy. If you go to newsletter.aiwithkyle.com, I'm just trying to get it for you on TikTok so you can see it. You should be able to see it there. Newsletter.aiwithkyle.com. Last Saturday, I wrote something called Saturday Sessions Becoming an AI Builder. This basically walks you through what vibe coding is and how to get started, and how to ignore the really scary stuff and get into it. It also links to an article I wrote a few weeks ago, which is getting started with Lovable in particular. There are plenty of other tools. There we go. I wrote this guide maybe 3 weeks ago, which is about getting started with Lovable. Lovable looks, if you've used ChatGPT, you can use Lovable. That's what the main interface looks like, which is basically like ChatGPT. And I've given you a nice long prompt to help work out what you should build, like what would be a cool thing to build. It interviews you, and you tell it about your business, you tell it about what you want to, what kind of value you want to create, etc. And it will use that to come up with a very basic project plan. The project plan will look like this, and then you take that project plan and you stick it into Lovable, and you can start building from there. So I've written a couple of guides on this. These are all free on the newsletter. You can also sign up to the newsletter, link in the bio, and every single Saturday I give a big guide like this. This last one that I wrote over the weekend was about 3,000 words, so make sure you bookmark them. They're chunky, but that's how you get started. So there isn't an official URL there, but you can go to lovable.dev if you want to use Lovable. But again, it's just one of the tools out there. There's also Base 44, Replete, V0, and Bolt, and they're all good. They're all good, solid tools, honestly. Right, okay, so we need to check whether that, so we're going to sign up, create account, boom, and that went straight in. So, and they won't be able to generate YouTube videos. Let's try it, because they haven't added, there we go. Okay, it's not an invalid URL, it's just they haven't added a YouTube. So we need to add the ability for them to connect to YouTube, but that comes later. All right, so that works, solid. Right, next is testing user data isolation. So it wants to make sure there's no leakage between different user accounts. I'm not sure how it's going to do that, but yes, that sounds good. Let's see what it can do. Because they shouldn't have admin, and they've got 10 credits. Yes, okay, so this is working. So you get 10 credits to start with. Let's see if they can access admin, because if they can, that's obviously a disaster. No. And rather, there wasn't even a loading symbol. I wish that should just be a absolutely not, get out of here, what are you trying to do? And I'll probably hide the admin a bit more, like not put it on /admin. Okay, they don't seem to be able to access admin. No, I'm going to do that in a minute. Okay, so yes, I can see the dashboard. Yes, 10 credits. And well, yeah, let's actually generate a lead magnet and see if they can. So I'm going to grab this text. So this specific person is logged in and they can only generate text at the moment. So I'm going to do this and see if that works. So this generation is done using the ChatGPT API rather than the Google API, so they should be able to do it. Cool. So their current balance is 10 words, 10 credits, correct. So, interesting. So they won't be able to generate this. Let's go ahead and try generation. So for the test balance, I give them 10 credits. We may need to increase that. Now that's interesting. It is not generating. Why is that? Got a console error. Yes, I can generate lead magnet ideas from text. When I try with YouTube, it says URL not found. But the real problem is they haven't added their Google Auth. So we need to change that message / give them the option to connect Google. We also need to allow them to connect Google in dashboard when they click the Google or the YouTube. Cool. And then the other thing was, okay, finally, when shown the 3 ideas, and I click checklist generate, nothing happens. Here is the Chrome console. Okay, so we've got a bunch of things going on there. Let's see if it can work through them. We are entering. We're coming to the end of the stream as well. But if we can get this in play, then I'm happy. I'm about to have to upgrade my Lovable anyway, so it's quite good timing. I do have the telephone number of the head of community, so maybe I'll give them a ring and see if I can get some credits. Otherwise I will pay. Okay, so let's see what that does. User profile not created for email signups. I don't know what that means. YouTube messaging needs better UX. Failing after content submission. So fix user profile creation for email sign. Oh, so it hadn't actually made a user profile. Well, that's a big issue. What was that constant error? So it says failed status of 406. 406 is happens when the server cannot respond with the accept header specified in the request. So the server does not have a response in any of the formats the browser can accept. Common causes include an invalid URL, incorrect settings in browser plugin or CMS, or issues with the server's ability to fulfill the request. Okay, that's pretty broad. Hopefully Lovable can work it out. Have I just run out of credits? I feel like I'm about to run out of credits. I know, okay. So this is really risky what I'm doing now. I'm on 1.7 credits. What can happen is you'll be mid-fix. I shouldn't have done this. That's stupid. You could be mid-fix and it will hit your credit limit and that will just terminate the process, which means you're in the middle of something and it started to write code, it started to change things, and then suddenly it's cut off, which is no bueno. You definitely don't want that. So I shouldn't have done it so close to this. That was silly. It's fine. You live and you learn. Well, actually, I don't learn anything. I keep making these mistakes on stream. Oh, I need to do a puzzle for TikTok. There you go. Mm, 1.7 credits. I found the issue. The problem is your test user doesn't have a profile created. Okay, yeah, that's a big problem. And I'm out of credits. Okay, that is the end of the stream. At least it got to the end of this, so I'm going to need to buy some more credits and approve this and move on with that. I'll probably clean it up after the stream because it's a squishy place to break off. So I'll get some more credits. Cool. We're making decent progress though. We are, what did we do? We shifted the whole front end. So when somebody arrives, they don't necessarily need a Google login, which is a huge deal because that was going to limit who could sign up. So instead, they'll be able to sign in using an email, much easier, or they can use Google if they want to have access to the YouTube generator. And again, that's also because not everyone's going to have YouTube. So we want to open it up and allow them in so they can see all the different options. They can start with text to play around a bit, and then if they want to connect to YouTube and do their YouTube videos, awesome. We're going to have to do things like change the FAQ here, etc., etc., but that's absolutely fine, and we'll have to change all of this kind of stuff. No problem. But then we ran out of credits as we were going through changing the authorization path, which is fine. I'm going to re-up my credits and fix that, and then tomorrow we shall continue. So moving forward, I'm going to be moving these streams into the afternoon. Reason is it allows me to get out at midday and go boxing, because I've been missing boxing. Also, it means if you're in the US, this is going to be more convenient. It's not super early in the morning. Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Remember, there is a YouTube channel where all of this goes. We are just crossed over 5,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. We are specifically at, let's see, 5,237, so awesome. On our way to 6,000 already. Very cool. So make sure you're subscribed over there. You can find a playlist with all of these past videos. So we're on day 16 now, and you can see the past 15 days. I'll also do some summaries and add some additional resources there, especially as we start to wrap it off. And I do a daily stream going through the daily AI news and updates of the day. And again, that is all available on the YouTube channel as well. So it is I am Kyle Balmer on YouTube. If you search for my username, my TikTok, or wherever you're watching me now, if you search for that on YouTube, it should pop up, and you can come and subscribe. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'll see you later in the week. Thank you.